Cosatu has condemned the appalling neglect and abuse of post office employees. It says the threats to force workers to accept a 40% salary cut is scandalous. The post office plans to reduce its working hours and retrench employees in a bid to cut its bloated wage bill. The trade union federation is calling on government to work with the union to find an amicable solution. For more on this, we are now joined by Cosatu Secretary General Solly Phetoe. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for joining us here on Newsnight this evening. Talk us through some of these abuses that are being imposed on the post office workers. What sort of issues are they currently facing?
Well, thank you very much for having us here, and good evening to your viewers. I think the issues of post offices started a very long time. And our position is that the manner in which government is dealing with this matter of the post office workers is seriously a continuation of abusing of workers, but also a continuation of the attack to the collective bargaining. Before the end of 2022, Cosatu decided to write a letter to the President of the Republic of South Africa to intervene on this matter. We have interacted with the Minister of Communication, Telecommunication, and we think that, as we said, that we would want the government to intervene in this matter and engage all the unions that are recognized at the post office. You will recall sometimes last year, post office has been deducting the monies of the UIF, the medical aid, the pension fund, not being paid to medical aid, the UIF, and the rest of all this has not been paid to the third party. That's seriously violating the recognition agreement and attack to the collective bargaining. Now, what we see is now government wants workers to cut their salaries. They want to cut 4 hours of workers, whilst the CEO is receiving almost about 4 million per annum. What does that say to us? Clearly, it looks like the government does not care about the challenges that workers. The cost of living in this country continues to increase on a daily basis. You know that, and the viewers, they are very clear aware about the cost of living that we are faced today. The electricity is now gone up. NERSA has given Eskom an increase of 18.65%, which is affecting the workers. And that's why, Cosatu, we are saying we would want to see government working with the trade unions, in particular communication workers union, to try and find a solution. Previously, there was an engagement in relation to how this matter can be resolved. But subject to that, the government did not have money to pay workers, those who wanted to volunteer, particularly those who are about to the early retirement or retiring in terms of the age. They have no money to pay workers. What happened to the money? And that's why we're saying government must fast-track the issue around the amendment bill on the post office to become a post bank, so that workers must continue to have jobs. And we will not agree about 6,000 workers that are being targeted to be retrenched or to lose their jobs. And we will work with all the unions, regardless whether they belong to Cosatu or not, to make sure that we fight against this attack to the workers.
And Mr. Phetoe, Cosatu has also been very vocal with regards to maybe a possible compensation after the post office was separated from Post Bank.
Yes, we've been talking about. That's why we're saying there must be compensation, and there must quickly be a discussion in relation to that matter.
And with regards, let's chat a little bit about, the infrastructure at the South African post offices. There was a point where, the South African post office was the shining star and the immediate service provider. Today, not so much. Do you feel South Africans have lost faith in the functioning of the post office? What sort of infrastructure upgrades do we require there?
Well, yes, you are correct. The post office has been very clean, the infrastructure has been very well, but the challenge there is about the negligence that the government has been doing there, including those who are given responsibility to manage. The management at the post office has been very weak, and we need a clear infrastructure that will be able to save the people of South Africa. And there are a lot of things that we can do, and we don't think that workers must take a blame of or take a punishment when there's a weak management.
Mr. Phetoe, just quickly shifting gears, earlier on a different topic, we heard from Eskom as they talked us through what the plans for the next 2 years are with regards to the constant blackouts, and once again stating that load shedding is most probably going to continue for the next 2 years. What is Cosatu's view and opinion?
Well, obviously, this matter is, we've met. In fact, we were one of the stakeholder or constituency that the president has consulted. We have raised a number of issues in relation to the load shedding. And the position of Cosatu is that, once again, we do not think that workers must be punished for what is happening in Eskom. We think that a clear intervention is needed, and we would make sure that with all what we have as workers and labor in this country, that we fight against what we see is happening in Eskom. And you will recall at a time when government approached labor about unbundling, we were very clear that we just hope that this unbundling is not about restructuring, is not about workers losing jobs. But for the 2 years that is there, we can see that the economy of this country is going to be affected, because already employers are talking about cutting jobs because of the energy crisis that we're facing. And when we met with the president in the consultation, we asked a number of questions. Remember 2020, we were asked to engage, and that thing, the social compact on Eskom, was signed in 2020. We do not think that the government and the management of Eskom takes that social compact seriously. And those were the issues that we thought that at that time, even that time, if they can take those issues seriously that we raised, they can be able to save a number of jobs, but also to address the challenges of the energy crisis that we're facing in this country.
And then just lastly, Mr. Phetoe, before I let you go, we have now seen those top 5 positions in the Free State province, the ANC's chairperson elected as well. What is Cosatu's reaction to the leadership positions being filled? Is there hope from Cosatu's side that we will now see improvements necessary in the Free State province?
Well, that's what we said. Not much we can say about this, but about the ANC. But what we want the ANC to do is the ANC that will be able to advance the agenda of service delivery to the rest of the people, but also address the challenges that workers are facing in this country. We hope that this leadership will also be above the factional battles that we're seeing in the ANC and to deal with those challenges, but also address the service delivery in the municipality. When we're in Bloemfontein, in Mangaung, we were able to meet with our members who are workers of the municipality of Mangaung, in particular Bloemfontein, workers in Metsimaholo, workers in Kopanang. There's a serious challenge, and we hope that this leadership that has been elected, we've already, after the January statement, we've already written a letter to the Minister of Local Government, the COGTA, the Minister of Finance, and the President of SALGA, and the MEC of local government, who's now being elected as the chair. We want them to address those challenges that workers, in particular, dealing with the issues of corruption. But workers who are working, sweating on a daily basis, we expect that the ANC leadership in Free State will address those challenges that workers are facing in that province, in particular in the municipality. But going forward is that the ANC in that province must deal with the factional battle that is affecting the service delivery of our people.
Indeed. Mr. Phetoe, thank you very much for your time.